long weekend, and I was watching the match, Manchester City. So
okay, great. So guys, it looks like we are live right now on Facebook. We will start doing some small talk before to test and to see if everything is okay with the broadcast. I'm just trying to see if I can access the streaming. Okay, here we are. Let me just take the audio off. Okay, great. Perfect. That's perfect. So, João, I would like to introduce João and Curt to both of you. Well, Curt is MLS coach right now. Is looking for a job in Europe. Not really. Well, Nuno Fonseca is Portuguese. Curt is also Brazilian. He was born in Brazil, but I don't think he can speak in Portuguese with us right now. He's not fluent. But so João Nuno is Portuguese. Is an analyst in the City Group. I was discussing with Curt what is match analysis. I will not talk more about it right now because I will leave some questions to our debate. Before that, I would like to test if everything is okay with the broadcast. It looks like everything is good. I would ask, please, to the people that are looking right now to the broadcast, if the audio and the video is okay, if you don't mind clicking on the like button, please. Yeah, it's going to be difficult to
waste the time.
Just so small talk. It's just yeah, okay. Okay, just one more question to all the guys that are looking to us right now. If you please could introduce the country that you are based in, so we can understand a bit more how to adapt this conversation to your specific needs. We have a guy that was born in Brazil, but now is in the USA, and a Portuguese that is in, I imagine, in Caminha. Is that it, João?
Yeah, in the north of Portugal already.
Have you been in Portugal, Curt?
You know, I have not. I have never been to Portugal. I've traveled all over the world, but I haven't been to Portugal. I would love to go.
You don't know what you're missing, you know?
I know. I know. I'm currently in Los Angeles.
Mm-hmm.
I'm looking at the water right now as we speak.
So you're near Santa Monica, is that it?
Yeah, I'm in Manhattan Beach.
Okay.
Manhattan Beach, California.
Oh. So now I would like to ask if you please could do some likes if the audio and the video is okay. We're starting a little bit earlier. I think people are having dinner. At least here in Portugal, it's hard to have dinner. You know, Curt, I've been in Los Angeles, and I'm not sure if I have here any American, but I was a bit disappointed. You know, I was expecting something more.
You cut out on me. Were you referring to our national team?
No. About Los Angeles, I've been there last year. I think to the convention, an NCAA convention.
Oh, okay.
And well, it's a big city. It's a huge city. It is, but I felt like, I don't know. We have that idea of as we see it on television and those wide streets and everything is beautiful, but it's not really that.
Yeah, I mean, there's like, for example, where I am, it's called South Bay, and that's where the, it's by the water, it's beach cities, and it's it's beautiful, and you don't really need to leave this part. But Los Angeles is very crowded.
Yes, it is. Yeah.
And there's, it's a very desirable place to live because the weather is always so nice. The economy is really good. So it just attracts a lot of people. Yeah. But with that, you get tons of traffic, and I really like it by the beach. So I spend my time over here, and obviously with my time with the Galaxy, it was only 20 minutes to go to Carson where our stadium is and everything else.
So great. João, have you been in the USA? You work over there with the New York City. Have you had the opportunity to come over in the USA or no?
Yeah. I've been in Dallas, in Texas, in a tournament in soccer. In that time with the Qatar national team. In Dallas in 2015, I think, if the memory doesn't fail. And of course, all in the movies are bigger rather than when we go to the place and live there. And of course, that is the main streets and everything. But is a huge country, of course.
Yes, it is. Yeah. Yeah, I think it's wonderful. All the dynamic and the way that the market works over there. I think it's great. It's much different from here.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah, it's completely different. So, okay, just one more question to the people that are joining to us in the Facebook Live. If you could please tell me your occupation, if you work with football, with soccer, if you work specifically with soccer analysis. I'd like to have some more information about you, please. We have some guys here from Italy. We have Adam from London. Let us see if people are joining right now. So just to let you aware that this is a live webinar, you will be able to ask some questions both to Curt or João Nuno. So start preparing some questions. I know that the first one is always the more difficult to come, but please don't be shy and introduce any question that you would like to. Have guys here from Algeria. Also, two coaches from Algeria, England, Southern FC professional team. Okay, great. Brazil, we have here Gibson from Brazil also. Matthew O'Neill from Australia. Hello, Matthew. How are you? So, as you see, we have lots of different nationalities over here. It's great. It's always great to see this many nationalities. So, guys, I think we should start. I would like to start first to do a small introduction about Soccer Hub to the ones that have the first contact with us. Soccer Hub is an online education platform. We dedicate ourselves producing high-level content mostly for football or soccer coaches. Also, every week we develop these Soccer Hub talks. And we try to get the best experts on soccer to discuss some of the subjects. This week subject is related with the soccer analysis, with football analysis, and the main question is how can we use match analysis to improve our soccer training? Okay, we have here two different contexts. We have João Nuno Fonseca that works in Europe, and we have Curt Onalfo that develops mostly his work in the USA. So it's going to be a interesting conversation, I'm sure. So I'd like to say to all of you also that during this course you will be able to buy João Nuno Fonseca course called How to Build a Match Analysis cycle, match analysis
process.
Thanks, João, Nuno.
No
with 75% off. Okay, from now till 1 p.m. GMT, you will be able to buy this course. At the end of this discussion, I will be introducing a little bit more this course. But right now, if you are interested, please visit our webpage. So as I said, this week discussion is about match analysis, and I would like to first have a question to Curt. And Curt, what is the current status of soccer analysis in USA? Is it usual that the MLS clubs have their own analysis department, or is still the coach that does this kind of work, Curt?
It's constantly evolving. When I was the head coach of the LA Galaxy, I had one person on my staff devoted to all the analysis and video, and but we also have companies that provide information for us. Mm-hmm. So every club is a little bit different, and it also it depends on the coach and how much they value that information. You know, I'm always on the cutting edge. I consider myself a very modern coach. I feel like you have to constantly be evolving, and you have to be able to use technology and the latest trends in soccer to help yourself be successful. But at the same time, you can't overdo it and, you know, focus too much energy on that kind of stuff, because in the essence, you still have to coach your team and make sure your players are improving and your team's performing and getting results.
Yeah, that's it. So João, I have a bit of a challenge to you right now. Imagine that Curt is now asked to go to a big club in the USA, and well, as you see, is a bit indecisive if you should have a specialist in analysis or not. I'd like you to convince Curt that he really needs a specialist like this, a specialist like this in the club, and try to show him what are the results of this kind of work in the football club. Can you help him out?
Well, first of all, I would like to say good evening or good night or good morning or good afternoon for the people that are seeing us. Again, it's a pleasure for me to be here discussing and talk about football with Curt, that is in US, and for me the mix of cultures that we can always improve and learn is unbelievable. And this kind of webinars, lives are helping a lot. I believe the people to at least have a different opinion about the things. Going to your question, Ricardo, I always say is that what will always determine the quality of the match analysis process is how the players relate this information, the kind of information received, and how they interact with each other. This is for me the big principle that it helps the people to understand that an analyst is a person that is not only behind the computer, is a person that thinks the game, thinks about the training, and help first the coach to develop the best approach that is needed for the players to improve. That's for me the big thought that I usually have, because without that, I think all is numbers, all is many companies growing with giving a lot of analysis, but like I said in the course, also the eyes never fail, and if you train your eyes to see the things how the coach wants, is the best tool that you can have to improve the things. So that's for me the also a challenge, because every person have a way to work, every person have their own thoughts, their own beliefs, but if you have a person that dedicates his time to bring the best contents, the best analysis, the best approach. And if this helps on the training sessions to reach the players and help them to interact them between them better, in a better way, I think this is the best challenge that you can have.
So, João, still a question for you. I think that Curt was talking about all of the data company that gives some information about the players and about the opponent teams and the own team. Could you? I saw your course and I know how you stand in what concerns with quantitative versus qualitative analysis. Could you please explain to our audience and to Curt and to myself what is your opinion about the value of the quantitative analysis versus the qualitative analysis, so that I can then ask Curt the same thing?
Well, Ricardo, my opinion about the quantitative analysis that is something that I used to say it helps the qualitative. For me, the qualitative have a huge impact in the analysis that I usually do. But I can say that the quantitative can save you time to search for the things that you mainly look for in the qualitative. But the qualitative is the interpretation of the things, and the quantitative doesn't allow you sometimes to have a clear interpretation about how the opponents makes the pressure, how you can build some exercise to go against this kind of pressure. So sometimes I believe that the people goes to the quantitative information because there is a lack of interpretation of the things, and you need to go to the numbers to confirm the things. So I continues to work on that the qualitative analysis on the moments of the game, it's much more helpful for the coach, for the players, and also for the people that is surrounding the team, because in that way all the people will at least follow the thoughts that the people have in the match analysis. I don't know, Curt, if you agree with that or not, but in my opinion, honestly, the qualitative information is key for me in terms of the match analysis.
Curt, what do you think about it?
I would agree. Numbers don't lie, and it's just like anything. Players want to have information that backs things up. So I think anytime you're able to quantify things, like for example, in everything, in the way I always like to work, I'm very specific in terms of my training sessions and how hard I like to train my athletes, the team. And I want to, when, for example, if I'm doing an exercise, a possession exercise, I want to know the exertion, how difficult it is. I want to be able to quantify, 10 minutes of passing, 15 minutes of possession, because in the end, you want your athletes to perform at the maximum potential. That's your job as a coach. So if you're able to quantify the things that you're doing than just arbitrarily running sessions, but you don't really know how hard they are, it becomes difficult. And then, so if you're able to really treat things as a science and really look at the detail, in essence, you're going to be training more intelligently, and over the course of a season, you'll benefit.
Yes, that's it, Curt. Do you think that the clubs in MLS are concerned in using this kind of information on the setting up of their training sessions, or do you think that is something that they are still working with?
Again, it just depends on the experience level and the coach and what that person's experience is and what their philosophy is. I look at all those, and I think most coaches at a high level do. I mean, you have to have a clear plan of how you're going to be doing things, during a week, during a season, during a month, in terms of making sure that you're constantly, training your group in the most intelligent way. So the more information, the better. The job, though, as a coach, is you got to take all this information. You got these staffs that get bigger and bigger all the time, and everybody wants to feel important as well, because it's a privilege to be making a living in soccer. So how you're able to take all these different bits of information from medical staff, from analysis, from you name it, your fitness coach, and how you're able to kind of utilize that information and then put it out on, into training sessions, and then also make sure you interpret that stuff for your players so that you don't confuse them. Because what you find also, it's easy to confuse athletes. Sometimes it's easier to confuse them than it is to make them understand. So you have to be really, I think, a true leader has to be able to take all the information and then make good decisions on how to use it appropriately.
João, we've discussed this question and about how important is the match analysis and the information that you gather from soccer analysis. How important is on the performance of the players, and what kind of information do you think it's better to give to the player so he could be better prepared for the match and for the training session also?
I just want to clarify something, because sometimes we can confuse the things, and also on the physical side there is a lot of quantitative information that is very useful. But for the physical side, in terms of the GPS information that we can get in terms of the volume of the sessions of each exercises, that this is very helpful and can let's say orientate better the training session in terms of the demanding physical demanding. But in terms of the information that we can provide to the players, I'm really a fan of the interventions cutted by moments. Let's say that we are planning on a week, a Sunday, we have a game on a Sunday, and we start the week on a Monday before, and we are starting producing the information to pass to the players about the opponent. In that way, if we are working on the attacking organization, for example, and we are preparing already the strategy for the game on that day, it's good to show to the players a defensive organization moments that will help them to understand better the exercises. Because if we are preparing building up pressure, building up from the back against two forwards that are pressing us high, we need to develop this kind of exercises accordingly. So that's why I used to say that it's good to cut the analysis that we usually show to the players for them to understand the things prioritized. You know what I mean, Ricardo and Curt? I don't know if you
Yes.
understand. So I strongly believe that as soon as you are more objectively on the information that you pass, better for the players to understand the ways of the coaching that the coaching staff is trying to pass them.
Yeah, I mean, for me to add to that, I mean, from my experience, the more information you give and the better job you do of kind of making sure your team understands what the game's going to look like based on all the things that you just talked about, those are really helpful. You know, the trick sometimes is, you know, people will change their tactics and they'll change the way they do things, and just making sure the players understand that, you know, those things can happen, and there can be a change in how they're going to build out of the back, and all of a sudden we have to be able to adjust. But for me, visually, athletes, it's a huge part of not only preparing for the game that's coming up in terms of being ready for what you think the game's going to look like. Because us as coaches, that's what we always want to do. We want prepare our teams as best as possible. But it's also a great tool to help develop players and showing clips of them doing things well from the game before, and also obviously clips that they need to improve upon. So all these details are very important, and kind of the way it really works a lot in a lot of the staffs in the United States is that our assistant coaches are preparing most of those things, as opposed to a person that's 100% devoted to just the analysis. Like, because our staffs are fairly big, and we don't view it, our job as just being on the field. A lot of that, the work that you're talking about, our assistant coaches do on our staffs in the United States.
Yeah, I imagine. Yes, the information that I gathered is exactly that it's still or the main coach doing that kind of job, or maybe a second coach that helps the first coach doing that kind of work. I'm waiting for some questions of our audience. We have guys from Brazil. We have here also from Argentina. Here, Michael Padilla, also from Brazil. So guys, don't be shy. Try to ask some questions and help me out in this debate also. So now I have a question for João. João, during the course that you delivered on Soccer Hub, you talk about the analysis cycle. Okay, how involved should be the head coach in this process, and in which specific parts do you think that the head coach should be really involved, João?
The head coach should be involved in all. I think as analysts and the people or assistant coaches are sometimes the eyes of the coach when the coach cannot go to some pitch and see the opponent, for example. But at least regarding your question, Ricardo, in terms of the cycle of the game, it's really important to have to exist a coordination between all the staff. To all think in the same way, because if you are starting to prepare some video session to the players that you want to present a defensive organization from the opponent, is important also to have the coordination of the coach, to have something prepared regarding what is going to be the training session or the exercise that we want to implement to improve in this moment the team. So I think the most important thing is for the players to have an interpretation of the game situation on the training session, so they can decide better when the game happens. And because the game is chaotic, you cannot. I always say that you cannot predict the things 100%, because, as Curt said, they might press us with 2 in front, but we go to the match and they just press with 1 and in a low block, so they don't do high pressure. So we need to make the most of the mental program, let's say, of the players, so the players can find these kind of solutions when they go to the pitch and they decide by themselves. So that's why when we are going to the topic of the intelligent player, we all like intelligent players and not robots. That's what I defend, and I strongly believe.
So, Curt, what do you think about this subject? You want to add something, or you are comfortable with this information?
I mean, I agree. I agree 100%. I mean, players have to be able to adapt, and the beauty of football and soccer is that the game always changes. And like João was just saying, that you can be preparing for one thing, and all of a sudden the coach decides to do something a little bit different, and players have to be able to adapt. So the other thing I think is really important in all this, from a player's perspective, is that when they get information and they're viewing, for example, the opponent, it gets them mentally ready to be playing. So it's just the visual part of it is a really important thing for the player. And when teams are really successful, all the players are extremely focused, and they're focused on the task at hand. And when you're preparing well, and you're engaging the player, it just helps them to get prepared and to perform better. So it's just it's a positive cycle that you want your players really almost at all levels doing to be successful.
Okay, great. João, we have here a question from Matthew O'Neill from Australia. And he's saying something like, I have found the process very time consuming. Okay, all of the analysis process, very time consuming. How do you best manage your resources? Okay, to become more efficient? Do you use particular software or set up in a particular way? How can you be more effective in this kind of job, João?
Thank you, Matthew, for the question. I think something that you need to have in mind is to prioritize the things that you need, and also regarding the culture that you live, the culture of the club, the culture of the coach, that regarding the idea of his game idea, we need to prioritize the things. So let's imagine that you have a coach in your team, or you are working with a coach in your team that have privileges the ball possession, and why we will go only to see, why we have time consuming on watching the attacking organization of the other team if we want to have the ball. This is something that we need to have a question in our mind, because we want to look for the defensive organization and how this team reacts when they don't have the ball. So that's why I used to say that we need all the time to prioritize accordingly to our demandings and our necessities that we have for the training and for the match. And of course, I used to say that I'm working with Sports Code to have the creating the databases and regarding prioritize the information of the work, but mainly is the way that you are more comfortable to work with, because I can have a way to work and it's very comfortable to me. For example, to watch a match in a fast forward mode, because I already have the setup in my mind how to attack the things. There is other people that prefers to watch the match much more slowly and take the tags in that way. So it will always depend in the way that in the way that you are more comfortable to work. It's possible to challenge you and make the things differently, but you will be stressful if you change a lot of things. So at least the people should be very comfortable in the way that the coaches like, and in the way that you are more comfortable to work.
Thank you, João. We have here many questions, mostly about technology, and here a question about the analysis of the training sessions also. But first, before I go to all of these questions, I'd like to ask a question to Curt. A question that we have already discussed is on our online summit in January. It's regarding if there is a new coach profile emerging. Do you think that the coach of the future should be more a team leader who manages staff, or should the coach integrate in himself more and more skills? Curt, what do you think?
It's almost like both. I mean, it's the game is evolving. There's more and more technology. Your staffs are getting bigger, depending on obviously what level you're coaching. But coaching at the highest level, I mean, our staffs get bigger and bigger and bigger. And you're talking about, intelligence departments, analysis. So you have to be able to manage people well. But at the same time, you have to have a clear way of how you're going to play, so that your analysis and all the people that work for you, they know how to do their job better. So, and I believe that you have to have a clear way how you're going to play, and you can't adjust everything to the opponent. If you do that, then you don't really have a way. You're just trying to counter the other team in terms of what their strengths are. So it's utilizing all the information, the analysis of what the opponent can be successful so we can beat them. Under the premise, we have a way that we're going to play. But coaching is changing, and they're very difficult jobs, and you can't be so set on your ways. You have to constantly be evolving and finding better ways to be successful. And there's information out there that can help you. It's just a matter of being open to being able to receive it. So, that first question you had earlier on this, on this broadcast, when you're talking about, having an analyst convince me. If somebody can convince me and use numbers to back it up for me to be more successful, I would be stupid not to take that information and try to apply it to be for my team to become better.
Okay, thank you, Curt.
Yeah.
So we have here a question of Andrew about the analysis of the training session, and this question is for you, João. Yes, he is asking, how detailed do you think that should be the analysis of a training session? You'd go down in how well he did at the specific exercises and how, like physical or non-taken technical solutions like GPS or something like that. I think he's trying to know a bit more. What kind of information can you analyze during the training session that can be really useful? How detailed should be that analysis, João?
Thanks for the question. I think regarding the topic of the training analysis, it's very important to have a plan, and this requires coordination between the coach, the assistant coaches, the analyst, the people that are filming. I believe that is very useful, because nowadays we are starting to see off a nine working with a big screen on the training sessions field, and make real-time feedback to the players for them to see what is happening just 30 seconds before or 20 seconds before the image appears. So it's really important to have a plan in these kind of situations, because it will help the coach to provide much better the feedback that they want to look for, and also helps the assistant coaches to go and talk about the things with the players. So again, it's important, really important, but is a way that is really needed to be very coordinated. Otherwise, the players will be starting to speak on the things, and sometimes it's not so good for the coach if the things are not well prepared. So, but I believe that a visual is much better feedback rather than only a feedback verbal. So I all the time say this, and I prefer to watch and to show a image to the players and to the coach for them to see with their eyes what is happening instead of only speaking.
Mm-hmm.
Can I add to that?
Sure, Curt. Okay,
yeah.
Sure. Okay.
So I couldn't agree more. So every session is always recorded, and just like good habits, if you have good habits and you're doing things properly, it usually means you're going to continue to get better, as with bad habits. So there's times where players have a really poor understanding of what they can't really see what they look like, and you may bring up something to a player and they don't quite agree with it, and then after training you can show them, look, this is what I'm talking about. This is this bad habit you have, and we got to improve upon this. So having the sessions filmed, and for me was such a luxury, because you're not using it every single day, but inevitably several times a week you can go back and watch it. And if you see training habits that are poor, and sometimes the player doesn't realize it, you just show them, look, this isn't, we have a standard here. This is, you're not training to the standard. It's right here. Look at it. and the image doesn't lie. So there's a lot of ways it can be a really useful tool. But again, you just can't go crazy with the stuff and be so overconsumed with it. And still keep your eye on the prize, which is improving every day and do whatever you can to get your organization to win.
Thank you, Curt. Thank you. We have here a question of Alessandro, and this question it's related with this discussion. It's for João Nuno. When you speak about to show the clips to the player, it happened in a specific day of the week, or it become a daily job, or may you detail when and how is it the best moment to show the video clips to the player, João?
Thanks, Alessandro, for the question. In the end, it's all about the feelings and the sensations of the things, because if you have players that mostly like to receive by WhatsApp video, and it will have more attention from the player, you need to do that. But at least to have in mind that on a daily basis, I believe that will help much more the players to really understand the things and have a picture in their mind about what they did on the training session, what the opponent can have and can bring to the next game if we are doing this kind of exercise. So again, an image show much more rather than I'm speaking during 10 minutes. If I show 2 minutes images or one minute and a half before we go to the training on the dressing room for the players, for them to see we're gonna do this kind of exercise because the opponent do this, but we need to also don't forget our philosophy and our way to work. So the idea in the end is at least to put more information in the players, but again, not so much information. We need to prioritize. We need to go very objectively to the players and not condense the information that sometimes the coaches do, that condense a meeting with the players and they spend 20-25 minutes with the players and the players get tired after 4 or 5 minutes sometimes. So sometimes it's a way, again, I end my answer like I begin, is a way of the feelings and the sensations that you get from the players and from the culture that you are living.
Curt, do you have opinion about this subject?
Yeah, you have to feel the situation. And, there's the player has to be receptive to what you're giving. And there's just, there's times when players are more receptive, and you as an individual, you have to have a feel. It's not like there's no one way to do it. It depends on the time, and if, for example, let's say you lost a game, right? And it was a game where it was just a poor performance and you need to get it out of your system and move on. Maybe that much time on the film, you're just going to move on, or, you have so many games in a week, you're playing every 3 days. Sometimes you just have to move on to the field. Then, what is the reason you're showing it? It's all, you have to just think about all those things and make sure kill.
We had some problems, Curt, but I think that the main ideas we could get it. Another question to João from Adam. Do you think it's important to spend more time against what the opposition are going to do, or more time analyzing what as a team need to improve and work on that to prepare for a game? So it's more important to analyze the opponent team, to waste more time in analyzing your own team or the opponent team, João?
Thank you, Adam, for the question. I think you need to be fair regarding the beliefs of the coach. There is coaches that only look for the opposition and they work regarding only the opposition and they forget their own identity. And I think this is a huge mistake, to be honest. You need to work accordingly to what you are and what you want to do in a certain moment. That is the next game. So you need to, again, to quantify the things in a way that, okay, we will do this or we will face this kind of situations, but don't forget we do this, and you can show examples of the training sessions or the previous games that you have success or things to improve. So I believe more in a way that you work at least 50 and 50% opponent and your own idea. But again, if you ask to me what I believe as a coach, I believe much more in my idea and how can I work according to my beliefs and my philosophy. So at least I have more information about ourselves because we are strong as a team. And we have the opponent that we will face, and we will to hurt them on certain areas. That's it.
Curt, do you want to add something, or do you agree perfectly with that?
I agree very much with what he said. I mean, I think it's a 50-50 thing. Again, though, players, getting players in a habit of watching plays, and I'm not saying like hours, just a couple plays from each game that they've played. It's really good for them to continue to build on and making sure your team not only collectively is playing a certain way, but each player is self-reflecting so that they have better performances each game. So, but you have to show video of that, but you also have to understand who you're playing and how you're going to beat them. So that's why I would say 50-50.
And I think, Ricardo, is important also to say something that sometimes the people that are around analysis think that the opposition is the main thing. And we cannot forget that if we show to the players only opposition, we will put in afraid our team. So if we will show only things on the opposition, the players will start to think, well, what we can do in this kind of situation is not, we cannot do nothing. So we need to also work in the psychological side of the game and of our team. So we need to be smart on this situation. And again, is the feelings that you have and you get from the players that we will work better in certain situations.
Okay, great. We have here one more question to Curt from Adam Catchpole. He's asking if imagine that you work recurrently with analysts. Would you be more comfortable to have always the same analyst working with you, or would you rather have a team's analyst that will help you out to understand a bit more of the culture and the way of playing of the team that you are working with, Curt?
I mean, I think I would like, first of all, thank you for the question. It's a very good one. For me, it takes time to get to know somebody. So you want to make sure you're really comfortable and familiar with your analysts, because they need to know you and you need to know them, so that you're kind of moving in the right direction. And there's going to be mistakes made because there's multiple people working on things. So for me, I would like consistency. And it's okay to have several analysts because you have several assistant coaches and everything else, but they have to understand how the coach works. So I would want to keep that consistent.
Okay, great. João, one more question here from Vladimir Popic. How much feedback about your team game you ask and take from players and talk about things they see with their own eyes from the field during the game? Do you do that? And also, you could understand them better, analyzing that information. I don't know if you understand the question, João.
Well, I think so. Is about the feelings that the players get from the information that you give them.
That's it.
I think this is a critical point. If you are not capable to understand what the players feeling, that's a huge error, because otherwise you start to be in a mess when you go to the changing room and the players looking at you and don't pay attention. So we need all the time to get the feedback from the players and be familiar with them. I used to say that a coffee conversation is much better than a private conversation with a player, and sometimes in a room with all the players. The coffee, we need to take, again, the thing simple, and the football is not a rocket science. And if we go to the basis of the football, we go to the simple things. So have a conversation with the players, try to get the most in terms of the feelings, how the players are feeling about the information that you are giving them. If a player insists that prefer to receive a video in his WhatsApp about the opponent, fantastic, is a way to work. But at least you ask, and the player is telling you how to do the things. And again, is a way to grow with the confidence of the players and the confidence in what you believe. That's my thought.
So, Curt, I have here a question for you right now. It's kind of a trick question, I imagine. What do you think that is more important? A coach having analysis capabilities, or an analyst having coaching skills? What do you think about this?
I think the coach. Because, I think the coach being able to understand exactly the information the analyst is getting is important. I honestly don't listen. You want your analysts to have a coaching brain and understanding it, but at the end of the day, all I care about as the coach is I want information to be successful. So I don't really care if the analyst has a coaching, has desires to be a coach or what have you, as long as the information that he or she is passing on to me is helpful for me to do my job.
João, we must have an opinion about this also. So please.
Can you say again the question, Ricardo? Sorry, I missed you in a certain time.
Okay, my question is, do you think that is more important, a coach having analysis capabilities, or an analyst having coaching skills?
Well, in a Portuguese culture, that there is no resources to have an analyst, let's say, to work with in a club, or only for a coach. I used to say that it's better to have a coaching badge, let's say, and have the knowledge of the analysis, of course, because you can combine both. But again, I agree with Curt, because the coaches need to receive well the information that the analysts provide, but needs to be a synchronized information. But I believe, I strongly believe that the work of the analysts can be 200% better if he goes to the pitch and stay in the context that the players are, because the analysts feel also the sensations of the training, sensation of the players. Also, if he have a coaching badge, can have some moments to also to help the coach on the training session. I believe on this because I live that scenario, and it helped me a lot to understand better the game. Being inside the training session, have intervention in some moments. It will help also the analysts to get the confidence from the players. And it's very common to say that the analyst is the informatic guy, but he's not. Mm-hmm. Is a knowledge guy that have the knowledge of the game also. So this is very important to have in mind, that the analyst is not an informatic guy. Is a guy that uses the informatics to help the process to be much better implemented. So that's the thing.
Okay, great. João, I have here one more question to you. You explained this very well in your online course, but how is the analyst dependent of the coach and the coach ideas? I think it's very important to understand this relationship, and it's also important to the analyst be able to adapt to these ideas. But I'd like to hear from you, how important do you think that this to respect the coach ideas, it's essential for the analyst work?
It's essential because you have many coaches with different philosophies and game ideas and game models. But you need to have in mind that one kind of analysis that you do in a certain club maybe doesn't fit the coaching ideas when he arrives to the club. So again, that's why I put the word adapt. You need to adapt in that way, because you will understand that the coach have a way to work and a way to watch the training sessions and the matches, and you need to be able to adapt your knowledge to this kind of information. That's why I all the time speak about the moments of the game that we divided by six moments, the set pieces plus the four dynamic moments, and this is really helpful because at least when the coaches arrive, we can pass them the information that happened last 3 years or last season on the club, and will help much more the coach to see what the work that has been done. So again, it's a question of adaptation to the knowledge that the coach brings and have a common language. This is essential.
Okay, great. Curt, one more question for you. I think that you are now realizing a bit how is the state of art of analysis, of football analysis here in Europe. How do you think that will evolve over there in the USA? Do you think that this kind of knowledge of not as many quantitative analysis, but more qualitative analysis will be implemented in the clubs? Or do you think that they will still look only at the numbers, Curt?
I mean, first of all, I think it's, as this conversation evolved, I mean, the way in which the work is currently being done is more so by the assistant coaches than an actual analyst department. I believe that as more and more resources are devoted to football here, there'll be more intelligence departments and analysis that are on staffs, just because the more resources you put into it, the better. I mean, this past weekend, Atlanta played 72,000 people. It just keeps growing and getting bigger and bigger in the United States, which is really exciting. So again, I think the trend is for staffs to get bigger, and they'll just be more and more similar to what top clubs in Europe are doing.
Okay, great. So you guys, we're about to finish this conversation, to wrap up. If our audience have any more questions, please do it right now before we stop. Of course, I would like to have some feedback right now from our audience. If you are enjoying this conversation, I would ask you please to put some plus in the conversation in the debate tab over there. And now, João, Nuno, just to finish, I will ask the same that as I asked you in the last Soccer Hub talks, for you to try to explain to Curt and to our audience what are the benefits of watching your online course, João.
At least I try to put questions in the mind of the players during the persons that buy the course at least have questions when they are watching the course, because I doesn't have the let's say the how can I explain this? All the knowledge about the analysis. No, it's not like this. Is at least I would like to pass to the people the knowledge that I get from all these years, the last 10 years of my professional career, and try to pass this kind of knowledge for the people to question their knowledge. At least they have different opinions and form the opinions about the match analysis. And again, it's not mathematics, it's not economics, it's football.
That's simple. We have here a small video just to explain how does the course works. I would ask please Rui to put him up
about our online course,
to see
how to
if
build a match
it's going to work
analysis
perfectly or
process
not.
by João, Nuno, Fonseca.
Please.
As you can see, the course is already available in our homepage, www.hub/soccer.com.
At any moment.
And if you want to know a little bit more about it, you just have to click on the course and go straight to the courses page.
Okay.
Over here, you will find a small explanation video with João Nuno Fonseca himself, and also the course's curriculum, where you can find all the details of each and every topic that we'll be discussing during this
The video
course.
is already on.
After
okay.
that, some more information about our instructor,
But you guys,
João
Curt and
Fonseca,
João, are not
and
able to
some
see
of
it.
our
So
clients' reviews also.
it's only on the
If you want to
streaming.
proceed to buy the course, you just have to click on the Buy This Course button and proceed to checkout. After that, you will have instant access to the course during the period of 1 year. If you buy the course, you will go straight to our online education platform, and as you can see, it's very simple. In the left side, you can find all of the topics of the content, and on the right side, you can find the content himself. You just have to watch all the videos, proceed to the next one, and when we finish all the videos, you will have access to a certification diploma.
Just a
at the
second
end
more,
of the
sorry.
course. So just visit our courses page, and if you have any question, just click on the chat button and we will have all the help that you might need. So see you soon.
So guys, I think we're back again. Just to thank Curt and thank João very much for this conversation. I hope that for our audience that it was profitable information and something for you to work with. Just to let you know that the course, as I said right now, till 1 p.m. GMT will be available with 75% off. We'll be glad to offer a course to you, Curt, I'm sure. So thank you, guys. Thank you, Curt. Thank you, João. And see you soon. Bye-bye.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much for the people watching.
Thank you, guys. Bye-bye.